Hello, Richard.
Hello, Raymond.
How are you?
I played basketball again.
Come on, man. Did you not learn your lesson?
Look, man, I have you to thank and blame for this.
Because you see me and you're like, I don't want to end up like that.
One fateful day, you sent us a picture of the dark side of the fupa, and it scared the hell out of me.
You're welcome.
So
scared me that I went to the doctors and I was like, I'm going to die either way. I don't care. Fuck it. Give me another Big Mac, please.
I decided to do something about it. I want your honest opinion, though. I look haggard and I just got out of the shower and I'm heat stroking again.
Yep.
Close your eyes real quick. Just close your eyes. And wait a second. Now, be honest when you look. Do I look like a serial killer?
You look like fucking Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Is that what you're going for? Can I ask you an honest question? Because I get yelled at by my wife all the time. Are you a towel dryer or a drip dry kind of guy?
I'm like a once over towel.
Yep.
Like kind of shake, get the heavy beads off, and then mainly I let the air dry happen.
My fucking man. That's what I wanted to hear.
My hair is completely soaked. I did not dry my hair at all.
I usually go to bed like wet and I don't even care. And she gets very upset with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she gets upset with me for everything. So, I mean.
Yeah, the going to bed damp is a little bit. I do the same thing and it doesn't go over well.
Undies are wet. I'm wet. Go to bed. That's how I roll, baby.
There's your first mistake wearing the undies.
Well, I know. Well, sometimes the kids sneak into bed. I don't want to explain to them what that inchworm is between my legs.
You need an extra layer of protection so when you roll over, it doesn't actually climb inside of you.
Yep. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Again, we are graced without the pleasure of the Queen.
His vacation days. What's going on? What is HR gonna have a meeting with us soon or what?
Well, this is season 2, so he's accrued.
He accrued shit.
He's accrued another 180 hours worth of leave time, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of those, but that's fine.
Oh, but the holidays don't count. I get it.
Yeah, where normal people get, their general United States 7 holidays. Bill gets 10 of those plus any other time he wants. Yep. That's fine. We'll go ahead and talk to Mr. Flobo Boyce.
Yes, sir.
Coming up here, we'll let him in. He's ready. Comedian and entertainer of sorts. We'll let him in. Let's see what his connection's like.
I bet you it's good. He has his own show. Yeah.
You would think. You would think he would be.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was fucking quick. That was fucking quick. He is a professional.
What up?
What's up, man?
Chilling, my friends, living life and everything in it. You know how it be.
Excellent. I also see that you cracked a beverage. You can disclose it if you want, but this is a drinking show, and if you're on our level, then things started off very well.
Well, damn! I wish I knew that beforehand because I had tequila, but now I'm just drinking club soda. Because I wasn't sure.
Just so we're all on the same page, you're in LA, which is 4:30.
Yeah, 4:30 LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That a boy.
City specifically, yeah.
I like a 4 p.m. tequila generally.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And I'm self-employed, so sometimes 5 o'clock is like 9 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That happened to me on Saturday. It was very nice.
We were just talking about our HR department that has no control over our third host, which won't be joining us today because he's probably knee deep in tequila as well.
Oh man, yeah. I was watching some of your episodes. There's always that one. We're just waiting for that one. Can't start the show. There's only one guy.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start the show without him right now. Actually, there's my cue. With us now, joining the Simple Mind Sports Show, is comedian, master of ceremonies, award-winning DJ, entertainer of all sorts and all the likes. Flobo Boyce. Welcome, man.
Oh man, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's gonna be a good time for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He also has a really nice background. It's really inviting.
It is.
It's my actual dresser. So when I come out the shower, I'm always like, am I recording? But
is that red light on? Is that light on? I'm gonna be fucked right now.
I got a Green Lantern. I have one of my awards. I have a pop version of myself, and then all the DC comic book characters on top here.
There you go. We'll get into DC in a minute. I have a question on that. I just like the plant. We do 6 shows a week, and I have to look at Ray's fucking furnace every one of them. So this is nice.
Yeah, if you ever get merchandise, that furnace plushie will sell millions.
Yeah, man.
I hope so.
Start slapping some logo. How do we not have that sponsor yet?
Damn
Who
it.
is that?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Thank you, Flobo.
Damn.
All right, man, let's get into it. So obviously real casual here. We got some questions for you. We'll kind of move the conversation wherever it goes is where it goes.
Sure.
But as a comedian and master of ceremonies and everything that you do in the entertainment business, what was your first love? So you're a stand-up comedian, you got some albums out, you got everything going on for you. Was it comedy or was it just an entertainer? Give us a little bit of story behind Flobo the entertainer.
There's 2 ways to look at that. I would say one stand-up comedy that came to me in 2014. So the first time I was on stage was August 10th, 2014 at the Comedy Store LA. If you guys are not familiar, it's kind of like hallowed ground there. It's not, I wasn't the cause of this, but to me, the week I started, it was the week that unfortunately Robin Williams had passed away. So even though I grew up with Robin Williams, I always felt like there was kind of like a synchronicity of that all, happenstance, if you will. But as a kid, I was a huge, and I still am, late night talk shows. Like I used to watch it all the time. I want to have my own one day. And if you meet someone who's my age that liked late night talk shows, it's because you had like a strict parent who didn't laugh at all. They found a way to laugh at 11:30. So you watch that going like, wait, it can be done. So I was the Leno guy growing up, but I watched them all. I mean, I watch Fallon now, Colbert, all kind of things. So I would say as a kid, but definitely comedy was the first one. Everything MCing came after that stuff.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I was Letterman, but I think everyone like falls in one of those categories. You kind of respect all of them, but you have your favorite for sure.
I thought that every day that I had to write new material. In fact, my first 6 months of doing stand-up, I wrote new material every night, which the woman would tell you, you never do that. That's terrible. You work on a craft, you get your jokes perfected. Don't discard them. Because I thought that's how Leno did it. If I only knew it was as fake as pro wrestling. There's a room of writers giving that dude jokes every night. I would have done it.
A couple $1 million of production behind him, and that's good. That's cool, man. Yeah, Robin Williams.
That sucks.
One of a kind. Him and Carlin are the guys that my parents had us grow up on. So I hear you.
As a DJ, you're doing a DJ gig. What's that one song you get on the floor, everyone's dancing? No one's dancing on the dance floor yet, but you want that one song. What is it? Mine would be Justin Bieber for sure. But I want to know what yours.
What era of Justin Bieber?
Are you serious? There's no era. I mean, all of it. His whole music catalog. From Baby to now.
That's a very bold statement.
Flo, you're walking into a danger trap here. But so let me just give you some background. Ray has the worst taste in all things entertainment that I've ever met. His favorite TV show is Prison Break, seasons 1 through 100, whatever it is.
Oh my God, he's lying.
I don't hate Bieber, man, but there's only one song I really like from him, and that's Cold Water. I think that's pretty chill. But the rest I'll play in that little whatever. I usually do weddings, so I'm what's called a mobile DJ, open format. So like my job is to make sure everyone just plays the hits, which has its own thing. For a long time, I was up until before the pandemic, it was Uptown Funk because Grandma's got that song. It was like, but Dua Lipa, man. I mean, that's the one I didn't think would be a hit. Like I thought, I'm old enough to feel like, oh, she's a young whippersnapper. No, she's bona fide, bro. So Levitating is the one I've played the last year and a half. Whenever I have that in case of emergency start party, that's the one I go.
Boom. With. All right, gotcha.
I think we're actually all around the same age. So you're talking to a good crowd here. We understand where you're coming from. But can I just go? Can I give you mine? Because it's a pretty good one. R. Kelly, Happy People.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, no, it's a weird thing with R. Kelly, man. Like I had a playlist called Cookout Music, because our people, right? Cookouts, right? R. Kelly used to be featured heavily on that album, but now it's almost like it's a secret code. Like, I got some R. Kelly. Okay? Is that okay? Okay, thank you. You know what I mean? But the whole era, Happy People, Step in the Name of Love, man. Woo. His version of Cold Water is actually superior in some ways than Bieber's, but I'm just
hey,
you got to do what you got to do.
You got a career to watch out for here.
I didn't say he was superior. Stop.
It's like,
I'm canceled.
Yo, let me get that beep. Just a little bit one time. Okay.
I got
How do you fall? Like, I feel like, now this might come off bad, but I feel like everyone kind of backdoors or falls into like that DJ mold. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a good base for someone in the entertainment industry who has those skills to like hold a career down and then focus on side projects. Like, is there an actual roadmap, or is it ever something you're like, man, I love DJ, and I love setting this thing up and emceeing.
It's a complex question. For most people, it's quick income, right? Most events are on weekends, so you can have a day job and then you can be a lot more creative on the weekend. This is why wedding DJs get a bad rap of being like, no, I'm playing my music, bro. Because during the week, they're saying yes, sir, no, ma'am to their bosses. They want to be as creative as possible, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it was a little different, and you're going to laugh at this. But I fell into DJing a different way. I was a professional wrestling ring announcer. And so I went to a DJ company that had DJs, but didn't have any MCs because everyone was in the corner or whatever. So I came as an MC. I learned to DJ through the back door because when you're getting married, playing the hits are important, but no one's really asking for a scrap mixologist at your wedding, but they want someone to be like, please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Like they want that whole theatrical thing as well. So so MC was my thing.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So we all think we're funny. I mean, my wife will tell me otherwise, that she thinks I'm the dumbest person in the room. But anyways, what made you make that leap becoming a stand-up comedian? And how was the first ever show? Because I would have to be lit out of my mind to stand up in a bunch of strangers for the first time.
Yeah.
Trying to get my jokes off and think I'm funny.
I'm going to try to make this as lighthearted as possible, but I had a near-death experience, right? So I almost died one night, and I had there's a lot of regrets you have when you're about to die. If you guys ever had a near-death experience, you're like, oh man, I wish I had more money. Oh man, I wish I banged more people. But the big regrets I had was I want to learn how to ride a motorcycle and do stand-up comedy because I grew up watching those like talk shows. So when I recovered, I just took class, and it was 6 weeks of just stupid joke writing, and my graduation was at that comedy store. Yeah. And so I was nervous out of my wits, but when they called my name, I got like instantly not nervous. It was like I was going into something that I felt was comfortable with. So I knew from actually show one, that's something I wanted to do again, whether or not they liked my jokes or not. So I guess when life says, look, man, you could die at any point in time, get hit by a bus, do what you want, then just do it.
Nice.
That's really interesting. We've talked to a lot of sports psychologists on this show who say, the successful people that they talk to have that kind of experience that jolts that motivation and that confidence inside of them. So it's interesting to say, Ray, we just got to do more risky shit, man.
Yeah, apparently.
Like drinking 6 days a week is not cutting it.
Nope. Go out with Bill on the night of the town. Our third co-host, he's a wild guy, so maybe we'll just start doing that. Go out with him.
That's what you call a slow death. How do you think do you think your comedy has come along since that time to now? You got a couple albums out. Do you think you have a lot of ways to go, or are you really happy with the progression that you've made? Like, how would you describe that comedic journey for you?
It's hard to answer that question with the giant pandemic right in the middle of it, right?
Yeah, true.
When we first started doing comedy, you're learning how to write jokes. And jokes are cool, isn't it funny? Or I'm this kind of person. My background is so this, it's like this. When you start to get into like what makes you angry and what provokes you, then you hit your second stage. It's like year 5 or year 6. And I felt I was getting better along those lines, but at the same time, I wasn't getting the bookings I wanted. I was entertaining the same amount of crowds. And when that happened, I said, I got to put my show on the road. Sorry, I just went out there with the leaf blower. I apologize for that. I want for that next level. I want to go places. In fact, in the beginning of 2020, I had put myself on the road. So I was going to do Alaska, some shows in Alaska, a couple shows in Tokyo. Cool. I was going to go ahead and do it. And then 2020 just said, nope, stay home and
go nowhere. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it worked out. I got to be more into comedic podcasting or what have you. That's where I got to grow on that level, being able to work with a live digital audience. But I really felt like it's time for me to really see if my stuff works outside of Los Angeles, outside of SoCal.
That's interesting, man. I love that stuff. Seinfeld's done a lot of that stuff since the show, kind of talking about comedy and what it all means. And behind every stand-up comedian, whether even the best ones, there's always a joke. There's always a framework that goes along with the storytelling. And listen to your stuff, you can tell. That's why I asked the question, because I listened to Cookies and Beer, and the first kind of stuff through that, and then to what you're doing now is like, oh, this guy, like this, you're getting it. Like it's getting really good. So
man, appreciate that. Because a lot of times when you're creative, you're like, is anyone listening to me? I swear I'm hilarious.
Hey man, we get it. Actually, that was kind of actually one of my questions, but I before I forget this one, I wanted to ask your opinion on comedy itself and the world that we're in, let's call it PC for lack of a better word. Like, do you have a line, or do you subscribe to, like, I don't know, the Bill Burr of everything's funny if it's funny? Like, there's no line if it's funny. If you can make it, someone laugh about it, then you can joke about anything. Where do you kind of fall on that?
So I agree, but I also feel that there are certain there's certain topics that have a high degree of difficulty that if you got to go, you got to swing for the fences.
Right.
And so a lot of times I would do that risk assessment and be like, no, I personally cannot make a joke about that. To me, that's not funny to be like, or whatever. But I think the difference is, and I know a lot of comics complain and go, people are getting too PC. I personally disagree. I think the only difference is now is that you can find people that agree with you and have a mob online. I mean, that's a really big difference because people are clutching their pearls from day. Book burnings are a new thing. You know what I'm saying? But like, you got to figure out what your audience is. And so I don't write jokes to offend. I'm not like on stage like, you know what the problem is with you people? But I always tell the story. When I first started doing comedy, I had this, all Black comics have this kind of structure when they first start out. And that is, I am Black, but. And so my thing was, I am Black, but if I go to Africa, right, I will ask where the Chipotle is. I thought it was harmless enough. And so I'm at the comedy store one time and someone pulls me aside after the show and he goes, look, man, I don't appreciate so many American comedians making fun of the African experience. And I was like, to me, I was the butt of my own joke.
Yeah, that wasn't an African experience.
But now I'm offending people I didn't realize. So I see why comics get offended or they get frustrated. Like, I don't know what's going to be the thing of taste. But the moment you censor yourself before you write the joke, you're done. So I say, go for it. Try it out. If someone says you've gone too far or it's too ahead of your time, then just say, hey, look, I'm sorry. I'll move on. I didn't realize it. Don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah, the point of don't censor yourself before you do it, I think is an important one because you're going to offend somebody. If enough people
especially nowadays,
you're absolutely going to offend somebody. It almost doesn't matter what you say at this point. It's just a society and community of people getting mad to kind of get mad. So, I'm everything's funny if you can make it funny, but if you can't, don't say it. That's kind of where I'm at. And again, that's why our third host is not here most of the time, at least for live shows. Go ahead.
Tell us about New Amsterdam Radio. I mean, how'd you get involved in that, and what can we hear on that?
Oh yeah, so New Amsterdam Radio was actually one of the few pre-pandemic shows that I host, and it started off just me talking to my phone. I had a podcast years ago. It was called 26 Stone because I used to weigh 26.9 stone, which is an old unit of measurement. So I used to weigh 375 pounds back in the day. No one listens to that.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, that was
you tried to slip that in.
Oh, well, ask me a follow-up question about that, because that's the reason why I almost had a near-death experience, by the way. But New Amsterdam was kind of like the spiritual successor to that. And I was on my phone just saying news stories affecting creatives that I read. Like, hey, look, Elon Musk has the Cybertruck out. Isn't it cool he tried something new? As a creative, you could try something new. That was kind of my own thing, my own therapy, if you will. But then when the pandemic started, I was touring and I was really talking to other creatives. How are you getting through this? Because the world told us we're non-essential. We're at home doing nothing. What are we doing? So that became its own thing. And kind of between my live DJ business and the podcast, I had to basically incorporate as a business to qualify for relief loans. And so New Amsterdam Radio became the crown jewel of the New Amsterdam network of all the podcasts I host, the live entertainment stuff, the comedy touring thing. So thankfully the pandemic made that happen. I have no idea.
You kind of fall into it. That's how we ended up doing it. We're just texting each other sports bullshit and like, you want to do this over Zoom because we can. And sometimes it goes somewhere. That was actually my next question about like the creative side of thing and feeling like you're talking into a void, or is anyone listening to me? Have you developed certain like mentalities to kind of get through that, or is it you did it for long enough, you were able to be solidified with a certain guest appearance, or someone say, yeah, man, you got like X amount of people listening to you, keep going? Like, was there what was that kind of process for you?
So this is another lesson I learned from professional wrestling, man. First of all, anyone who's creative out there listening, whenever you do a comedy show or a podcast, when you first start out, you're competing with 1 billion people. I think there's like 400 million podcasts and like 300 million people in the United States. It's like something weird like that. One thing that I learned is you gotta give people the whole show. When I was a ring announcer for professional wrestling, we will have shows where 3 people bought tickets. But for those 3 people who worked how many hours at Best Buy to get the money to buy that ticket, they deserve the whole show. And so it really comes down to what you're doing and what you love it. I love my late night talk format. So one of my shows is late night talk. I love talking to creatives. That's what I do. I'm just so happen to invite the public. But the moment I'm doing this comedy show, you guys better listen to it or else, or share it or else. You're going to be so sad, because there's a lot of content that I don't know about you. My Netflix queue was like 40 movies deep, and that's Netflix. I pay them money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to take time to listen to a brand new podcast. So be patient with yourself.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good advice. I listened to the bonus episode you have on your site right now, and this is an aside from everything we just talked about, but it scared the shit out of me. It was now I've actually forgot it because it scared me so bad. The name of it, A New Space, when they were just talking about getting. There was one example of putting stuff on YouTube or talking about like Dogecoin and the responsibilities, and like they'll just shut you down. It confused me and scared me so bad. I have to go back and listen to it. I don't know if that was your plan. Well done. You get 2 clicks out of me.
So for those, like, New Amsterdam Radio was kind of like this, like arts and culture, right? I'm gonna get the Peabody Award doing it, and it started off people, hey, look, I wrote a book, or hey, I'm a comedian. But the thing is about thinkers and doers is that people who were into their lane are just so passionate about it. So yes, NFTs are a whole new thing for me. I minted my tweets for fun, for experimental purposes, but when you have someone who gets on their show, they're just going on and on and on, and you're like, I'm gonna try to make this work, but I'm not a journalist. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, so what you're trying to say is, so I think at the same time, if I was in that space, I would go, oh my gosh, someone is thinking like, oh, I'm thinking this show is amazing. So I kind of go for that angle. But yeah, there's sometimes sitting there going like,
no, totally. I mean, totally get it. You know, our whole concept of when we were starting to get guests is like, just never say no. So we've been talking to some people and it's like, I don't know what the fuck this person's talking. But it's interesting to the people listening. Like you said, you might have one person out there that's like, oh yeah, I get this. This is good. So you just kind of roll with it.
What was your idea for your show? What's up, Floyd?
Yeah.
Congrats. You scored the NYX Video Award for on-camera talent. Did you see anything on the late night shows that you were just like, fuck this, this all sucks? Or was there something that you just wanted to put a spin on your own late night show kind of thing?
Sure. That was in the middle of the pandemic. Episode 50 was the week of this recording. And so it was 2 things. One, I had a regular blog called What's Up Flobo, where I would sit and talk about my life, like as a creative. Hey, today I have to read this book or whatever. And so I wanted to take basically the idea from The Daily Show, because they were at home at the time. I said, hey, look, I want to talk about the news and what's happening around us. It was like, mind you, it was June 2020. Which you remember, it was a very hot month in the United States. Yeah. But that show evolved because it started off as me talking about what's happening in the news. I brought some guests on, so I wasn't talking to myself, but guests never read the news. And I guess we were all burnt out by 2020. We weren't reading news at all. Yeah. And so it became like this late night kind of like funny talk show thing. And so for me, it becomes a challenge every day or every week where I hit live and I have a guest and I have questions, but I go, how can I make this funny? How can I draw this out? How can I really show them a different side of people? So it became like late night talk show training. So all my friends will know that my dream in life is to host my own variety show called Flobito Tonight. I think After Hours is the interview segment of that. So it becomes like a training thing, but it kind of evolved. I wasn't going in like, oh yeah, next stop Fallon tonight. It was, all right, I can't talk to myself. Oh, no one watches the news. What the hell are you going to do for an hour?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. You get people to talk about stuff they don't know about it. And, you know, if you're good at it and you're quick, like you said, that late night talk show, the ones who do it, even though Ray hates, who do you hate? One of them.
Jimmy Fallon. I hate Jimmy Fallon, but he's not on there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's why Letterman stuck with me. He was so dry and so quick and so witty that he could take anybody and you'd laugh, whether it's at him or them or whatever else.
Yeah.
So I like the concept, man.
He was on CBS, so we had rabbit ears, so CBS never came in Brooklyn. So like all the CBS shows go like Jag and stuff. I never watched it because it was always like, oh, I'm not gonna move that. We moved the antenna one time a week, and that was on Saturday night for Early Edition, Martial Law, and Walker Texas Ranger. And all the other days it went back to the other channels. That's
Did you ever have one of those shows where you had someone standing by the rabbit ears so you could come in and clear it and just be like, hey, don't move, stay right there?
That's me. I was the youngest, so
okay.
So we're the same age, right? Back then, TVs came in these giant wooden boxes, these fortified fortresses, the Zeniths, right? And so I would lean up on the Zenith with my shoulder on and hold the antenna for my dad.
Don't move. This is the good part. Don't move.
It's like, I'm so tired.
This is part 2 of Walker's redemption series, man. We can't miss the end of this. Stand still.
Flobo, you got pissed? Stay there.
When you're in Texas, we're all sad. Singing like a spiritual, look behind.
So getting to know you. So before you go, Rich, getting to know you, you gave us a list of sports teams: Mets, Islanders, Nets, Texans fans. Do you just like rooting for terrible teams, or is that just something born into.
Yeah, man. Disappointments like me, like this. Boom. What was different? I feel like of all the teams ever, like all the teams in sports, I identify more as a Mets fanatic. Like that's my identity. And one time, I was doing a photo shoot. I had to wear a Yankees hat, and I was like, nah,
Nope.
No.
I ain't doing it.
I'm
sorry. They're like, yo,
Yeah.
we're paying you. I'm like, I don't care. I couldn't compel myself. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty fruitless for a long time. But I tell people this: back when I was a kid, we're talking the late '80s, early '90s, and stuff like that. It was cheap tickets, so you can go with a family, and there were more people like me on screen. Like for every Paul O'Neill, right, in the Bronx, there was like Ray Ordonez or Butch Husky or Gerald Strawberry, Benny Agbayani. Like there were people that looked like me, so I was always close to them. The Islanders, I have the most stupidest story for them. So they had their dynasty in the '80s or whatever, but when so '90s kid that I am, I was in the Pogs, right? Remember Pogs?
Oh fuck it,
Slammers, baby.
My best slammer was an Islander slammer. I was hooked. And as far as the Texans, man, like I was a Jets fan when I was a kid, but two words were in that team for me: Vinny Testaverde. I was so sad. I picked a team with no playbook. I was just burned out by gangrene. So yeah.
Said fuck this. I'm going to Houston. I'm taking my talents to Houston, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, David Carter Gaffney days. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, you combine that with the love for DC Comics. You go to stand-up comedy in 2014. Was that just an outlet because you just picked such terrible things to root for? I mean, Marvel's shoving you guys in a locker for 20 years.
It is a rough vibe being on the losing side of everything. I was also a fat kid too. So I was a fat kid.
Yeah, go back to that. Okay, hold on. Tell us the death story because you were fat.
Yeah. So I was a heavy adult, really. By the time I was 2000, respect. I weighed up to 375 pounds at my heaviest, and I tried around my late 20s to work out because I had a sweat rag, bro. Like that's not cool. You can't get clothes with a sweat rag. Like that's not. And I was losing my hair, so I lost my hair at 22. So I was bald and fat and pimply.
Hold on. This, I don't know if you made this a bit yet, but this has to be a bit. You have to flesh out that sweat rag a little bit more. How did it hang? Where'd you keep it? Was it an elastic waistband? It had to have been.
Back pocket. That's the thing. I always had a hard line. I will not buy pants with elastic waistbands because I felt like I was totally giving up. To this day, girls like, I like men with sweatpants. I'm like, tough. I ain't wearing those. Because when you wear 6 extra large, or in my case, a 56-inch waist, almost everything has an elastic waist. So like, yeah. And also I wore my pants at my waist. I didn't do the whole like over the belly thing old people do.
You did the Urkel? You did the Urkel.
I did not. I refuse to do that. So I would rather have my thing is just waving in the wind than to compromise the hammer pants. No, I would not do it.
We call Ray's that area the dark side of the fupa because when the light hits it just right,
you're not fooling anybody. Exactly. No. Getting both camel toes. So I went out. I started working out. I actually worked out as hard as I could. I lost about 150 pounds. And people say, how do you do it? So the first 80 pounds was straight up the Subway diet because I didn't really know about nutrition. I would go twice a day, get the Subway Club, no mayo, no mustard, just like the meats and the vegetables or whatever. So I lost 150 pounds. But the thing is, I had essentially been pregnant for 16 years. So my skin was like crazy, not elastic anymore. And so I had a procedure to remove the skin. I didn't get the lap band or anything like that. I had a procedure to lose the skin, and I got what's called I'm getting really in the weeds here. A fleur-de-lis So basically, I have an incision from my sternum to my my lobito, and another cut from my waist to my waist, like an upside down T. And they open you up, they cut off your skin, they sew you back together. Dang. So about 2 days after my procedure, there was a line of my suture line that had reopened and started to bleed out. So about 4 inches long, 2 inches wide. I'm like gushing blood at the side of my body. And so I called my plastic surgeon. So LA, right? So I called my plastic surgeon. I'm like, oh, I'm bleeding out. Can you help me out? He's like, no, I can't. What? And I go, what do you mean you can't? He goes, well, at that point in time, the suture line isn't sterile. You would have to go to the emergency room. But like my mom was there at the time, she was a nurse. But the wound was so big that moving me would have been certain death. So what I did, mind you, I'm recovering from abdominal surgery. So think about trying to
any movement, you're fucked.
So I'm just like, holding this rag on this giant, and I'm like bleeding everywhere. Blood is warm and sticky. And when you're about to die, you get super scared. So you stop being scared. You just go like, well, I tried, Yeah. So I was on the couch. I was like, well, this is it. Like I'm going to die. And so I said, if I survive the night, I got to do the things I can do. And that's ride a motorcycle and do comedy. So I couldn't be on my back because my cut was on my side, and I couldn't be on either side because I had ab surgery. So I was basically on one cheek, my left cheek, overnight. And I wanted to sleep that way. And when I got up, the wound had congealed into like a giant jello mass and basically saved my life that way.
Wow.
And so to me, I was like 15 minutes of bleeding out right inside of my house after this elective surgery. Yeah.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But it changed my life. I was like playing with house money ever since then. So everything I got to do, the esports stuff, the podcasting stuff, it's all bonus because of that night.
Yeah. I mean, hell of a, you always get a cocktail story, that's for sure.
Well, usually people are grossed out when I say that. That's not really. So anyway, I was bleeding all over my leg. Hey, come back.
That's nuts, man.
Look at this picture.
Yeah. So you're a big WWE fan.
Born and raised, man.
I as well. And these guys laugh at me all the time. So I have some questions. Why does the product suck right now? I'll give you my reason. Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley for the 5th month in a row. That is my reason why.
He's so mad.
Raw makes it hard to be a wrestling fan. And I'll be honest
really
with you. I do a show called Draped in Gold, and we review NXT and NXT UK every week. I watch that as a fan. I'm pretty much skimming Raw now. Because I don't know if it's a third hour thing or is it because it's at least a matter of roster. But you got Roman Reigns on SmackDown. You can have 4 segments. And you're like, this dude's dope.
But like 4 years ago, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy's boring me to death. Now you just got Paul Heyman, the Usos. It's like it's actually enjoyable to watch because he actually has this character that you can actually follow and be like, oh fuck, this guy is actually the real deal.
It's a show within the show. But
really
you have Raw, and here's my theory for that brand specifically, is that Drew McIntyre is an absolute specimen. That is someone kids are going to get into in wrestling. I don't knock the kids. I know when Mencino was big, we would say, oh, it's for the kids. Because frankly, we all started as kids too. I was a huge Tatanka fan. He wasn't the greatest wrestler of all time, but Tatanka was my homie. You know, I get it. And so you gave him the title during the time when they had empty chairs in the arena. So you want to keep him in play. Bobby Lashley is a internet darling. In fact, that he was working for 16 or 18 years, finally got the title as a person of color. We like that. But Raw is serving 2 masters. Is it for the kids spectacle, or is we giving hardworking internet wrestling fan like wrestlers a break? And you're getting both, and it's pleasing no one. Like, look at Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt got his gimmick hijacked. It was given to Alexa Bliss. And it's like, Alexa Bliss looks cool if you're a casual fan, but if you're a hardcore fan, you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah, he comes back and he has this new gimmick, burnt to death. He comes back and one and done. See you later. You're all set. It's like, what? I don't understand the product right now. But for my rankings, obviously NXT is the best thing that WWE has to offer right now. Then it's SmackDown, like you said, and then Raw's finally at the end. What does the show needs to do to bring it back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, where it was like, its heyday? What do you think has to change?
You're not gonna like this answer because I'm like you, but it can't go back. It can't go back, man. Because when I was a kid in the 90s and my dad was like, back with Chief Jay Strongbow, you're like, shut up, Pop. That's just the way it is. What makes NXT work, and I want to go back if you're watching every week. There's a woman wrestler on there now. Her name is Zoe Stark. I'll use her as an example. She showed up and had 2 matches in the first hour main event spot. Then she beats a former champion at a takeover pre-show. And now you know exactly who she is. You're not be a fan of Zoe Stark, but they introduce a character in 6 weeks or less. At Raw, you get like 2 weeks, and then you get the Humberto Carrillo yoink, you get the Keith Lee yoink, you get the Retribution yoink. Like, you got to double down on people and say, look, they may not be into you now, but we're going to give these guys a couple weeks to get some resonance with people. Because I can tell you, kids will probably buy a Humberto Carrillo action figure, but explain that to your friends. Yo, man, Carrillo is hot. Like, no, he's not.
But do you think that's like a Vince McMahon kind of thing? Because obviously Triple H is making these guys into stars down in NXT. Like, I remember when Aleister Black, I mean, that was like one of my guys I was watching. I'm like, God damn, this guy's going to be something. We'll get him to the main roster. Then he gets there and see you later, you're released. It's like, what are they doing like once they get to the main roster?
Yeah, Vince, when you have anyone at top, it doesn't matter if it's a hands-on CEO of corporate America or the guy who financed. Like, I do weddings. So many fathers of the brides are like, you're playing funk. You're like, but everyone loves this. Funk. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whatever you like, sir.
And I know people say Vince is senile. It's like I disagree. I think he's a savvy business person, but when you have one person, a lot of times it's going to fall through the crack, especially that one person is so different than what we're used to. I look at Keith Lee. I'm not even a big Keith, sorry to cut you off. I'm not gonna be a Keith fan, but it's a total presentation on Raw.
Yeah. Well, it's just when you do anything for as long as you do it, it gets stale. I mean, if only the best of the best can go with the tides and make the changes themselves. And arguably Vince McMahon has been one of the best at it in the entertainment industry for a really, really long time. Sometimes it just, whether they're senile or not, or whether you've lost touch with what people like because you're older or whatever, time runs out. Time runs out.
That's true. But
rest in peace, Tom Brady. He's dead to us.
Oh, he is. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was like, what? Oh yeah, Boston show, yeah.
So Bill is our third host. He couldn't be here tonight because of family reasons or whatever. So he had one question
or whatever.
Yeah. We can't talk about Bill's side life. It's a big no.
Yeah, but your story times like a million depressing.
Well, now I gotta hear this.
He's just a degenerate. There's nothing else to say.
He lives in a trash can, smokes a lot of weed, and just does his own thing.
I want to do that podcast.
What is the Sydney? He wants to know what a Sydney Rooster is, and he's hoping for it's a new sex position. But I feel like he's going to be very disappointed when you tell us the real.
Oh, the short answer is they are an Australian rugby team. The rugby league team. And the reason why I like them is because during the pandemic, they were the last sport league to close and the first one to open. They took a long weekend. They're just like, okay, we're back.
You got to like that then, yeah.
Yeah, and it was that time where there was like nothing on sports wise, but like bowling and like Korean baseball and
cornhole.
World Cornhole Championship. So the first game I watched was like the Eagles versus the Roosters, and I picked them. I was like, they named themselves after some cocks. I'm all about that. Whatever, dude. Hey, if you have that kind of energy and be secure in yourself to say that, then why not?
I'm in.
Yeah, all right.
That's a really good enough reason, and I respect the dedication to sports, but I think the sex position's better, so we'll just cut all that. That's fine.
I'm gonna give it a Sydney Rooster.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Sydney Rooster last night.
Go into UrbanDictionary.com and just start looking. What is
never
fucking
gets
Sydney
explained? It's like it's a worldwide telephone. People just start making shit up, and then it starts happening.
Oh yeah.
And then someone will get cease and desist from the rugby team out in All right, this has been fun, man. We have one last question, and then we want to know where to find all of your stuff that we've been talking about here. Sure. This is another degenerate question from the Queen, Bill, our third host. Could you beat a black bear with your bare hands to death?
Hell no, man. What? What you gotta do is you gotta get a weapon of some sort. You got distracted with something shiny, and they would sucker punch that motherfucker.
Well, see, he says that the black bear is a berry eating pussy, and he could kill it with his bare hands. But then we said if we put it in a cage, there's different rules. He couldn't do it. But if it's out in the open in the wilderness, he says a berry eating piece of shit animal can never beat him.
I would say this: he might. But if he were to be killed by this bear, I would have showed up to the funeral and be like, this guy thought he could take down a bear. And that bear said no.
Just go to his casket and go, ha!
Like, what are you doing? He said, what? He deserved it.
And then I'll dump the natty light on his casket and walk away.
Oh, man, natty light, not even Bush. That's cool, man.
Yeah, he's terrible. Okay, so I feel like we're friends now. I feel like you got a lot going on. I think that we can be a beautiful attribute to all of your podcast situations. Yeah. Just let us know whatever we can do for you. But more importantly, let our listeners know where we can find everything you got going on, the website, whatever you got coming up next. Any live shows you got coming up. The floor is yours, man. We appreciate the time with us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm on that social media at Flobo Boyce on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Flobo Boyce. If you want to book me in the Southern California area, flobito.com. That's FLOBITO.com. And if you want any information about the 8 or 9 shows that I host, let me know at newamsterdam.com, KNEW Amsterdam.com. All the shows are on that umbrella.
All right, man. We'll have that all in the video. We'll put all that up on social media and everything too. So
I got one question.
Go ahead.
Batman, superhero or not?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I missed that.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm a DC person. I hate Batman.
God damn it, Flobo! I thought you were going to be on my side for once on this. Oh, damn it!
I'm sorry. He's a rich guy. He's super privileged, bro. Like, what do you want me to say? Root for him?
Damn it!
No.
Iron Man all the way.
Sorry, Ray. The bottom of the totem pole of dumb loses again.
Yep.
All right, man. We'll get all that up. We'll hopefully catch up again. And yeah, stay in touch, man. This was fun, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, take it easy, man.
Later, dude.
You were over on that question, bud.
Mm-hmm. One day we'll find someone that says Batman's a superhero.
I mean, there are definitely people as dim-witted as you in the world.
Well, I thank you for saying those kind of words. I appreciate it.
No, we can definitely find that level. It's just we're striving for something a little bit better.
Yep.
Clearly, Flobo was better.
Maybe if we go to a homeless man on the streets and I ask this question, they'll agree with me for once.
No, I think that they'll have the same privileged answer. Like, fuck that guy. He's got a ton of money.
So who do you think I have? What do you think my person that I should go see? Like, what kind of level of person do you think would agree with me? Dumb fat idiot. All right, fair enough.
There's a room. Start there. Bring some hard candies. Is this 808?
Self.
That's a self.
Self beep. You gotta love it.
That's prolonged too. I don't think any of it's usable.